Just roll tide, baby. Roll tide. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Hedge Podcast. I'm your co-host, Omar, aka Retro Hoops. It's my man JD right here. What's going on, man?
Peeps? How you doing, man?
We got a lot going on, man. I found a lacrosse ball. I don't know where that comes from because we don't play
lacrosse now.
No, we don't play. Was it you that told me that you can buy packs of lacrosse cards?
Yeah. Jay Wilson.
That's right.
Jay Wilson was buying boxes.
Yeah. Who's got the license on that?
Dude, I don't even know.
Leaf?
It's some weird company.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine there's too much fighting over the licenses for.
No.
Is there even a professional league for lacrosse?
Yeah.
There is.
Lacrosse is Major League. Dude, lacrosse is actually legit. Like if you like hockey, it's hockey on ice, hockey on land.
Yeah. So what's the difference between lacrosse and field hockey?
So
are they the same?
Generally, in the U.S., field hockey is played only by females, and in Europe and in other places, it's male and female.
Okay.
But lacrosse is like men's lacrosse is like a cross between football and hockey.
Gotcha.
And a little bit of soccer too, but with sticks, and they fight.
Yeah.
Like all kinds of. It's legit. I personally, I don't like the game.
Yeah.
I'm learning to like it a little bit more in because I have to go and like be at these games and stuff. But like, I'm a baseball guy. Lacrosse. Lacrosse has killed baseball. But hey, that's baseball's fault.
And there's some big old boys playing that game too, right? I mean, they're big old fullback size guys.
They're not tiny. So, and girls lacrosse is a little different. It's much more like finesse and speed. So if you have remember the old Nintendo ice hockey game? You create like the 3 different guys. It's basically like that first guy, and you're just fast as shit. And speed kills. So
so I don't know how we came across a lacrosse ball, but I found it. NCAA regulation lacrosse ball. So
put it on eBay, see if you can get a couple bucks.
You know what? I might. I would imagine they're not cheap. It seems pretty sturdy.
Dick's $3.99.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. I did a video the other day, or I haven't uploaded this other video. You mentioned, I think on our last episode, that there was a product out there for draft that came with 2 autographs. Leaf
draft.
Yeah. So I went and bought. There was a couple boxes.
Oh, nice.
I went to Target and picked up a couple of boxes. I opened those up because they were cheap. It was $20. Like
$20.
$20. Yeah, it was $20. You got 2 autographs.
Yeah, and you get like 100 cards.
Well, so that's where I think I grabbed the wrong one, because there is this purple one that is 2 autographs, and then it says a 10-card set per box.
Okay. Yeah, you get a different one.
And then there's another one that was a yellow one that was two autographs, and then it was like you said, like 100 cards, which was like insane. Now my logic behind not grabbing that one, and I kind of regret it now, is that you legitimately get a 10-card set. Like both boxes had the exact same cards in them.
Oh, really?
Like one was just blue and one was white. Like I don't know what the difference there was, but it's 10 cards. I mean, they gave you 10 cards.
Yeah.
And then you got your 2 autos. None of my autos were. I mean, I don't even think they're playing in the league right now. And then I got like the one guy that is playing in the league is a defensive tackle. John Mechie. Oh, the wide receiver. I got wide receiver John Mechie. Got his autograph. Kind of dope. But man, I was like,
$20.
What? Yeah, $20.
It was a fun little rip. I got a lot of. I hit all the quarterbacks rookie cards. I got I know they're in their college unis, but surprisingly, I put everything on eBay, and
they do pretty well.
Selling left and right. I mean, again, a couple bucks here or there, whatever. It all adds up, man.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and like you said, it was a fun little rip. And if you hit like a Man, if I would have hit like a CJ Stroud or something like that, rookie card autograph,
that'd be cool.
I mean, come on,
for $20, you know what I mean?
Yeah, shit, yeah. So, yeah, on your recommendation, I was like, you know what? I was walking through Target, and I was like, man, that's all right. I 2 autographs for $20.
Yeah, what the hell? What the hell? You get one of the good guys, dude. It's beyond worth it.
And then on top of that, I had the itch to rip something. I hadn't ripped something in a while.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
So I don't mind like doing that for $20, like whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's the $300-$400 stuff where you're like,
yeah, that's what hurts. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's where you can get into some trouble.
Yeah. So, dude, let's get right into it.
Okay.
You did a nice video on your channel, Retro Hoops Collectibles. Make sure you're subscribed. And
if you're not, what are you doing?
Yeah, if you're not already, you should. So let's talk.
Okay.
You know, you did. So all right. Let's back it up a second because maybe people haven't watched. You and I have been buying and selling, trading, whatever, over on Arena Club.
Yep.
And my understanding is you called back a good amount of cards from Arena Club. Some you had raw already or whatever, like you sent in with your cousin, the Pokemons or whatever.
Yep.
But then the whole purpose of this was to do to see how it kind of matched up. Arena's rating matched up to SGC.
Correct.
Everybody knows you're an SGC fanboy.
Yep.
And so you wanted to, put it through the ringer to see if they met your standards.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
I watched your video and I actually came away thinking to myself, that was interesting.
Yeah.
Well, so what were your thoughts? Like you go first and then I'll talk as a viewer.
Yeah. So I did a couple of things in that video. They were all crossed over to SGC, right? I'm not gonna lie, there was a part of me that kind of wanted to send them to PSA just to see what it would do.
But but hang on, let me stop you there. I get that piece, but I think because of the half grades, and SGC has the half grades, I think you get a better.
You are spot on, brother. That is exactly why I decided to go with SGC, because they have the 9.5 grade, and they also have.
Well, even if they don't have the 9.5, they have the 8.5 and the 7.5 and whatever. You know what I mean?
PSA has that too.
Yeah, whatever. They don't ever give them out.
You can get an 8.5. You can get a 7.5. Super rare, from what I understand.
Yeah, you can also get a lightning bolt up your ass too.
That's true. So so what I did was that's the reason why I went to SGC. Aside from the fact that they had dropped down to $15 a card, aside from the fact that they have an amazing turnaround time. We'll get to another aspect of something that was interesting also, but I had a total of like 10 cards. So I recalled like 15 cards back from Arena. A handful of them were already in PSA slabs.
Okay.
That I had bought on Arena or that I had traded for on Arena. So I recalled those and resubmitted them to SGC. But I also had about 3 or 4 cards that I had bought that were in FCG slab, forensic card grading, in their slabs. And then I had, I think, 2 cards that were in CSG slabs.
Yeah.
So I cracked all of those and resubmitted those. I sent them over to SGC. Now, what I got, with the exception of the 2 Jordan cards that I sent out, and there's an HGA in there as well. One of them was an HGA 7. It came back in SGC. Let me see.
6?
Yeah, I think it was the 6.
Yeah.
Or a 6 or a 5. One of them came back a 6, or one of them came back a 5.
I think it came back a 6. I think it was a full grade lower.
No. So, okay, here we go. So the HGA 7 was the Jordan sticker, came back a 5.
Wow.
Okay, so HGA 7 came back a 5.
So can I pause for a second?
Yep.
I had a similar HGA experience with SGC.
Okay.
So I bought a nice Rafael Devers Sapphire, like green rookie auto, for like $500 a couple years ago.
Okay.
And it went for way cheaper than it should have because it was an HGA. So I was looking at the card and I was like, you know what? This is a nice card. I'm going to send it to SGC. So I sent it to Bobbles. He cracked it, calls me up. He's like, dude, bad news. The way they slabbed it, they like pinched the corner. Yeah.
Okay.
So it ended up going from a HGA 9, I think it was, to an SGC 7.
So that's a really good point. And I didn't even, as I'm looking at it now. So the thing about the HGA slab is it's kind of weird. It's not like, and I can see that happening, especially on that top corner.
Yeah, it was a corner. Yep.
Yeah, and so so it had pretty bad centering top to bottom. I knew that already. Centering was the worst on that. But I figured at bare minimum it would have at least kind of just crossed over the same. The other one was the Jordan starting lineup card that was a CSG 7.5, and it came back a 6. So those were the kind of oddball ones that were like just way different. But for the most part, everything else that came back from Arena was about a half a grade up or a half a grade down. Yeah. There really wasn't anything that was too crazy, right? To where I'm like, oh man, SGC completely, Arena completely got this one wrong, right? The Jordan, I think my Jordan sticker was a 9.5. It came back an 8. That's the other one.
Yep.
So this one was a 9.5. It came back 8. And there's a couple of them that I was talking about on the video, where I said, as soon as I cracked it, I can tell that it wasn't the stickers. They don't seem to really have a good grasp on, in my opinion. And that was the only ones that were completely way off. But again, like everything else was like a 9.5. It came back a 9. The one that I was really interested in, and another one of the reasons why I sent to SGC, is because they have the 10 pristine.
Yep.
I had an Arena Club 10 gold label.
Yeah, on the
F1 card,
F1
on the Checo, on the Checo Perez. And that came back a 10. I mean, it came back a solid 10.
Yeah, I saw that. I was so let me ask you this. Overall, what were your thoughts? Like,
so overall, I think Arena was about half a grade difference, up or down.
And that's kind of what I got from watching your video. They were
so they're pretty spot on. Now the interesting one was FCG, because 2 of those cards, one of them was the Brady.
Yeah,
the Brady was an FCG 9.
Yeah,
came back a SGC 10.
Wow,
which was interesting. And I thought that Brady was really nice. When I cracked it, I was like, man, this thing is really nice. And I have a somebody was mentioning in the comments like, oh, I like FCG because they look at things under a 10x microscope.
I saw that comment. Yeah,
I have that. I have an LED lit. I mean, this thing is about as legit as it comes. So I looked at them. I looked at them all the same way. And the other thing I didn't do was I didn't Kurt's card care any of these cards. I just sent them. I cracked them and I sent them. I thought about Kurt's card carrying them, but then I was like, no, for the purposes of what I want to do or what I'm trying to illustrate, I didn't want to do that. So that one came back a 10, and then the other one that was an FCG. Let me see, where was my other one? Oh, the other one that I thought was really interesting was the Allen Iverson, the one that I got from you.
Yep.
Now, that one has had a lot of pitting on the card.
Yep. I thought that card was overgraded.
I thought so too. I really thought so too. And it was originally a 9, which I thought was a little bit generous.
It was a 9. Yeah, it was. I thought it was more in lines with a 7.
And SGC gave it an 8.
Okay.
So, again, so to say all of that, there really isn't no, what I was trying to see if there was any difference. Oh, here's the other one. The Shaq. The Shaq that I got a 10 on was an FCG 9.
Okay.
So that's 2 FCG cards that were 9s that came back 10s. Now, the other 2 cards that I had was the Kevin Durant that was an FCG 8.5 that SGC gave it an 8.5.
Yep.
And then the other one was the FCG 9 Giannis rookie that SGC gave it an 8.5. So you got 2 cards that were within a half a grade, and then the other one that just jumped up a full grade completely.
Yep.
So, I mean,
all in all, do you think, like, and forgive me for kind of being green on this piece, but like, I'm assuming that the FCG stuff you didn't pay a whole heck of a lot for.
No.
So, and did you buy those FCG cards?
I did.
Okay.
And we'll
so did taking them out, cracking them, and sending them to SGC, did it increase the value?
So that's a good point, and we'll look that up right now because I haven't. I was thinking about doing was I was thinking about going back and doing the numbers on everything.
Yep. Yeah, you should.
Right? Just completely running the numbers on everything.
Because I do think, like, so it's interesting on a couple of levels. First, I think we need a like more of a sample size, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like for the most part, there were, you take a couple outliers that were a full grade up or a full grade down, right? Get rid of those.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you get rid of those, everything else was within a half of a grade.
Within a half grade, yeah. I would say that the average was within a half grade.
Yeah. So what's interesting from that piece, though, right, is if you throw in PSA, right? If you were going to send them to PSA, I would just assume, you're not getting, if you had a 9 and it went down, you're going to get an 8, right? You're not going to get a PSA 8.5. So just assume an 8.
Right.
But then you got to look at it and say, okay, well, if I get a PSA 8, like there could be a little bit of like something there, as far as like I think there's real merit to what some of these smaller companies are doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes, like, it's hard. It's very hard. SGC is a major grading company, and it's been very hard for them to climb up the ladder, right?
Yeah.
And they've done it, but it's been very hard. So you look at some of these other companies, and I think what FCG is doing, I kind of like them. I have one FCG graded card, and I've looked at it over and over again, and I think it's accurately graded. I'd be curious to crack it and send it and see what happens to it myself.
Mm-hmm.
But you might be onto something. Like, I think our original thought with Arena Club was it's a raw card review type thing.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think if maybe I'll call back some cards.
Yeah.
And send them and see. And then we'll have you know what I mean?
Because we'll have a good amount of sample size. Yeah.
If you can get within a half a grade, one way or the other, right? You could be onto something.
Yeah, you could. Yeah. So I'll give you an example. The Shaq rookie, the Fleer Ultra Shaq rookie, the one that I crossed over from an FCG.
Yep.
So I bought this card in an FCG 9 for $9.
Wow.
Okay. Cracked it. Subbed it. The last comp in an SGC 10 was $90.
Right. Yeah, that's a tough card to get a 10 on, bro.
And that's a $15 grading fee.
Yep.
So I'm in $35 total. No, what am I talking about? $25, $26 total paid for this card in an SGC 10, and the last comp was $90. The last sale was $90. The sale before that was $110. Now, A PSA 10 goes for $267.
Right.
A PSA 9 goes for $30. So, I mean, just stuff like that.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because like for someone like myself who definitely flips cards to buy cards, it's an interesting kind of new. Like I know buying other companies and cracking and sending like PSA or whatever isn't like a new phenomenon.
No,
but
it's not.
With some of these grading services now, there's maybe some merit to buying their slabs, especially on the cheap.
Well, here's the other thing too to think about. So I'll throw this one in the mix. This one is the trade card. So this is the 1B.
Yep.
Kind of there's two of them. There's
1A and 1B.
1A and 1B.
That was the one you sent the card in.
Yeah. So this one, if I'm not mistaken, I think I traded someone for it on Arena.
I think you did.
Either I traded somebody for it or I spent the $5 to send it in to Arena. I had it raw. Came back in SGC 9, $52. In an
That's
SGC 9.
Card?
Yeah, the trade card. Now, if it was in a PSA 9 or a PSA 10, PSA 9.
So that card's probably closer to like $30, to be honest.
Yeah, it's probably like if I needed to move it quick, that's a $40 card.
Yeah.
Right? Because the
last SGC sale on a 9 was $15 on the trade card.
In a 9. Oh, okay, yeah, I'm looking at a 9.5.
Yep.
Yeah.
So $9. I'm sorry, $15.
$15. So I'm in it for what I'm in it for, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, because I did the $5 to send it there, and then I did call it the $1.50 to recall it.
And that's a hard card.
Oh yeah,
to get a 9.5 or a 10 on.
What's a hard card to find? Period. Right, because this is the 1B. Like the other one.
That's not hard to find.
It's the 1B.
It's hard to grade. Yeah, there's 3,702 PSA 9s. That's not a hard card. Trust me.
Okay,
there's 6,000.
Well, yeah, and
there's
then
a lot of those.
6,000 PSA 8.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's minimal 10s though, because it's a hard card to grade. So the value is in the 10. You know what I mean? Yeah. And actually, the regular, the non-trade card is the one that's way more valuable.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, but only in the 10. Only in the 10, because the 9s are pretty similar. They're like 30, 40, 39, $40, whatever. There's a little less pop in the 10s. By what? Like maybe 100, I think.
We were talking about this the other day, right? Is that if you can go to a card show and find this card in a PSA 9 and get them for $25.
Yep.
$25, right?
Yep.
And you buy 10 of them. It's worth worth resubmitting them, cracking them all and resubmitting them, and maybe 2 or 3 of them come back 10s.
Well, I don't know about. I mean, I think saying 2 or 3 is awfully high, considering 30-something years later, there's only 340.
It's about a 10% gem rate of the 9s.
But it's look at the pop report.
Right.
You're looking at 7,400 8s. You're more likely to get an 8 than you are a 10 out of 10 cards. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe
you get like a 90%. Yeah, trust me on this one.
Yeah,
I'm not right on a lot of stuff. And this is a card that they're not giving you a 10.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. I mean? Pop control.
10s, bro. And you know what's nice about this too? Like, if you really want to double down on that, if you go over to gem rate and you look at like the trend in how this card is graded in like the 10s, it really gives you some good information of like, is this really worth my time to try to get the 10 on? You know what I mean?
Like, is it even possible? Right?
Yep.
Like, how possible is it?
See what happens here.
Yeah, because that's what Bobbles was talking about, right?
Yep. So this card has a 2.3% gem rate. There's 340 gem mint 10s that we just talked about out of 14,950 total cards graded. And this is just PSA.
That's crazy.
So it's a 2.2, actually 2.27, if you really want to get technical, gem rate. So even like, I understand what you're saying, like if you bought 10, but because it's no border, it's all black.
That's the other thing.
Everybody and their mother had these cards. You remember 92, man?
Shaq, yeah, like, of course.
Like this was like mania.
Yeah.
And
Shaq was the LeBron back then.
And again, if you look at the grade distribution on gem rate, I mean, the 8s are king. There's 7, like we just said, there's almost 7,400 8s. So you're more likely, out of a 10 card stack, you're more likely to get 8 8s and 2 9s than you are. You know what I mean? And then at that point, you're just wasting money.
Yeah, you just kicked yourself in the nuts. Pretty much. Yeah.
So that's one of those cards where if you're really buying it for like that investment piece for the long haul, that's one you just buy a 10, you suck it up, you pay the PGs,
pay the price,
you buy a 10 and you put it away.
Yeah.
Because it's still like it's one of those cards that's gonna, I think, hold the test of time now.
Yeah.
Where like everybody knows Shaq. Shaq's still very relevant on TV and whatnot.
Yeah, for sure.
He's
Guy's
everywhere.
Gonna be a trillionaire.
Yep. And guys like us love Shaq.
Yeah.
So like I think the value and the card's up 45% in the last 6 months. So, if you start like that's the other piece too. If you really get out of like the current day sports card crap and start looking around at stuff's moving up in value. And it's key cards, right?
Yeah.
The
cream of the crop.
The cream of the crop. I've noticed a ton of 90s sets, insert sets, parallels, really, really moving. So it's interesting, I did a video the other day where I don't know if you watched it or not, but like, and I know you've been traveling, so I don't blame you if you haven't watched it. I won't hold it against you. But I did this thing where like I called it a pet peeve.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, maybe I titled it wrong, but I kind of thought my logic was sound, and I think for the most part people got it. But there were a couple people that were like, yeah, like whatever, you're wrong. But I felt like if I'm looking at the all-time greats of quarterbacks, and I took Tom Brady out of it because his cards are huge cash, right?
Right.
So next guy, Peyton Manning. Okay.
Yeah.
So if Peyton Manning's biggest rookie card is an autograph rookie that's like 2 G's in a PSA 10, and a current day 1 of 1 of Justin Fields is somewhere between $4,000 and whatever $1,000.
Yeah.
What's going on, right? Because my thought is this, and like maybe I think I might have screwed up in the way I kind of presented it, but my point was kind of going back to the way I was a few years ago with like the Zion craze, and like Kobe was down here,
right?
Zion was up here, and I'm like, okay, so fellas, if you're spending $1,000 on Zion right now, if he wins 5 titles and is like number 3 or 4 or 5 all-time scoring, his rookie card will be $20.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's that whole baked in thing, right? That we talked about.
Yeah.
Right?
But like,
so what's baked into that price?
Right. So like, I get like, I get like some of the stuff, but at the same time, like, I don't get it because if you're going to spend thousands of dollars, and I think football is a great example, you're going to spend thousands of dollars on these quarterbacks. Like people spent like close to $1 million on Justin Herbert cards.
That's crazy,
man. What's like, I just like, I guess my question is like, what's the thought process? You know what I mean? Like, first of all, if you got $1 million to spend on a Justin Herbert card, you're probably not hurting for cash, right? That's right. But if I had $1 million and I said, Omar, you can take your $1 million and invest it in Amazon, and you'll be all right. Or you can invest it in Mikey, which is the new knockoff Nike sneaker company. That's selling like Ike Jordans.
Yeah. It's the blue chips versus the penny stocks, right?
But I one of the guys, and the guy comments all the time. He's a great sub, like, and he always has really good insight. But I felt like he commented that like the technology of the card is what made it more valuable, and I was like, well, that doesn't make sense, because
so take that Peyton Manning one that you're talking about, right? So Peyton Manning's rookie card was what year?
98,
right? Yeah, 98. Yep. And so you're almost still a little bit in the junk wax era, kind of coming out of it.
You're kind of out of it at that point.
So there's a whole lot, right? How much do you think right now a Peyton Manning 1-of-1 rookie card would go for? Like a true, like if they had 1-of-1s the same way that they have 1-of-1s now.
Oh, relative speaking,
yeah,
the same, if not more.
Because that's what you're paying for, right? Like especially for especially like the RPAs, right?
Yep.
Like one of the things that I'm searching for right now, because I'm going to start selling a whole bunch on eBay, because I need to try to put some cash together to make a run at a Şengün card before these things get too stupid. Yep. Because he does have a true RPA, which is on card auto, an actual patch that was game used. They waited until flawless to put one out, but there is one out there. So I got to go try to hunt one down. They're like in the $2,500 range, which is kind of crazy, but I'm gonna try to find one and make a run at it. So those are they're numbered to 99, right? Yep. Some of them are numbered to 49, some of them are numbered to 5, some of them are numbered to 10. Just all depends on that's pass interference right there, bucko. Oh, they're not gonna give it to him. And what matters is what I think it's like what drove that Luka card to 5.2 million, or what was it, like 6.2 million?
Because everybody was hyping him as the next guy,
right? But it was also what it was, right? It's an actual patch.
Yep.
Right. It's an on-card autograph, and then it's numbered to, I think those were numbered to 99, or the one that sold was numbered to 99. Yep. So there's only 100 of those out there, right? And if Luka gets to where they expect him to be, to where the hype expects him to be, then you're not just clamoring for, if it gets as crazy as a Michael Jordan, or as a Kobe, or as a one of the greats. At that point, the hype is gonna the demand for that card is gonna it's gonna exceed the supply that's out there. There's only 99 of them.
Right.
I mean, what's the pop count on the 86 Jordan? Right, thousands.
Thousands.
Right, there's thousands of them out there.
Yep.
And if you have one of the 99 of this kid's rookie card that has a piece of the jersey that he wore in a game and his autograph on card as his official rookie card, that's 10x what a 86 Fleer card is.
Yep.
Which we all know that the 86 Fleer card, I mean, there's even arguments that that's not even a rookie card considered. Right. Like there's people out there actually.
And if you think about it too, relative to sort of a 1-on-1, right? I mean, Jordan's 86 Fleer in PSA, SGC, BGS, CGC, whatever.
Right.
It's thousands of dollars for any grade. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, like, relative speaking, it's relative, right?
Right.
It's just there's more of them, so the price isn't where it is. And then this commenter made a good point. He's like, that Jordan, that All-Star patch auto card there that I think Lou sold for like 2 point whatever million it went.
Right. Yeah.
There you go. You know what I mean? Now, if Jordan had an exquisite RPA auto rookie or something like that, forget it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it would be
exactly
50 million or some crap.
Yeah, exactly.
So I totally understand that. But my point was this: on a guy like Mahomes, I understand the value, right? Because he's dominated the league already from a young age. He's got a couple Super Bowls, couple MVPs, whatever. He's not slowing down. So I understand the prices there, right? But at let's say a 101 Justin Fields goes for $4,000. I think that's absurd. Because A, what has he done? B, what is he gonna do? He's playing for the Bears. No offense to Bears fans, because I'm a Giant, but the Bears and the Giants right now are playing for the number 1 pick. So
yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So like, what are you hoping for, and when do you like? I guess my question is like, how do you get out of that card at $4,000?
So what I would say to that is that especially a 1-1, because if this kid ends up being even half of what a Mahomes is,
but his window is like this, right?
Yeah. Agreed.
Football guys, right? Their window is like this.
Yeah.
And now he's about 2 years, right?
Yeah, he's in 2 years. Yeah.
So okay, here you go. Ready?
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
So here's the window.
The thing is that with a card like that, especially a 1-of-1 rookie card, 1-of-1 rookie card, you corner the market, right? You have the only one. That is it. There is nothing else out there
in that product, though.
Correct. In that product. But if we're talking about
there's lots of them.
Yeah. But if we're talking about like the premier product, right? Let's say a Prism black 1-of-1, or even a black shimmer, or or the Nebula, right? Because there's 3 1-of-1s. I don't know. Is there 4 now? I don't even know how many.
There's 1-of-1s. There's a 1-of-1 for the 1-of-1.
Yeah, but there's 3, right? 3 main ones, right? There's the black shimmer, and then the Nebula.
Yeah.
Right. So let's just go with that.
Sure.
You corner the market. You get any one of those, you corner the market. It's a done deal, right?
Right.
And if this kid, even for a small, if you're smart, right? You buy it right now when they're not doing so well. You pay $4,000 for it.
He does have 2 touchdowns tonight, by the way.
And your question is, how do you get out of it? Well, you get out of it the moment that card moves to $4,500 is what you do, right? Because you're speculating on it. Yep. And to me, when you're speculating on quarterbacks like that, you were talking about Justin Herbert earlier, where you're saying people are paying millions of dollars for Justin Herbert cards. It's a big game of who's going to hold the bag, in my opinion.
Right.
That's all it is. Yep. Because you don't know what these kids are doing. Now, there's a lot of people that played that game with Mahomes. There's a big game of who's going to hold the bag with Mahomes, and he hasn't screwed up yet.
Right.
Right. And so the number just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. But it takes us back to that earlier conversation about how a lot of his price, what's baked into that?
Right.
Multiple Super Bowls, multiple MVPs.
Right.
And I think, the last 2 Super Bowls, when he won the last 2 Super Bowls, his prices really didn't move that much after the first one.
His some of his stuff, like Lou had me look up some cards from the other night.
Yeah.
Some of his key flawless rookie cards and stuff are down like 30%.
Yeah.
So all right. So then my question is like I get the hype. I understand like the hot rookies and this and that.
Right.
But like, when is it too much, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, again, and if cash is not like a deterrent for you, and you're not worried about budget, you're off the discussion table, right?
Right.
But for like
you guys like you and I, though,
for like you and me and people that I think listen to this show and comment and make fun of us and everything else, I think cash. There's a point where you're like, I'm out.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. And don't get me wrong, like I certainly I collect some new guys, not a ton, but I do collect some that I like. But most of the new stuff that I buy of like current, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, whatever, my goal is always I'm getting out of this card I have like a plan, whether it's
you buy it at 20,
I'm buying it, 50. I'm grading it immediately and selling it, or I'm going to buy it, grade it, and wait till, the whatever. I I just get worried that, there's too much emphasis placed on the big sale. And you never really hear about,
but that's what's sexy though, right?
It is. And I get that. And it brings attention and eyeballs. But if you were running a business, right, and you acquire said business for $1 million, and a year later you're doing $500,000.
Yeah.
You're
in trouble.
You're in trouble.
Yeah.
And then when you're doing 250, you're really in trouble. You know what I mean? So it's right. like that's, I want this. So the whole point of what I was trying to get at was, I want this hobby to be something that doesn't scare people off. Right.
Yeah.
And I don't want, and ultimately I don't want people to look and go, I'm afraid to spend some money on this because if I spend 500, is it going to 250?
So I'll add to that.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It absolutely does. And I'll add to that point because, like, for example, guys like me right now, I'm priced out of the Shingun market right now, unfortunately. Right. Cards are going, his PSA 10s were going $30-$40. Now they're in the hundreds, 120, 140. I used to be able to throw $100 bid at a card, a PSA 10 Shingun card. I used to be able to throw $100 bid and go to bed with no problem, knowing that I was going to bag that card around $30-$40. I was always going to be the highest bid.
Yep.
Now that strategy's out the window.
Yep.
That strategy's out the window because $100 bid won't even get me through half of the bid time.
Sure.
By the time there's 1 or 2 days left, I already got outbid.
Yep.
There's nothing, and the card ends up selling for 160, 170, 150, 160 bucks. Which, don't get me wrong, I'm happy about that because I got dozens of them in my box over here, right, that I bought over time. And then I have a ton of raw cards that I was gonna send off to SGC to get. I got a bunch of SGC stuff because all the autograph stuff I'm keeping. That's all my PC stuff. So that's all going to SG. That all went to SGC. I got bucket loads of them over here. But now I'm starting to think about, well, how do I want to grade these other ones? Because if PSA 10s are going for 150, 160, like it might be worth the $15 or $20 grade, right?
Right.
And for liquidity purposes, so I can dump them. In this situation right now, where I'm chasing after this RPA that I want to get.
Yep.
That's kind of that's the only way I can get it is to
start now
moving some of this stuff.
Like you're really a true player collector. Like
yeah. My rockets are where it's at.
So it brings up another interesting point where you have a distinct method of how you buy cards.
Mm-hmm.
And I applaud it because I wish I could do that. Can't. But do you ever think to yourself, you know what? I should have gone after that card first.
That card being what, like another player?
Like you're talking, no, like I'm talking about like for Shingun,
mm-hmm.
that flawless. Should you have gone after that when it was $500?
Well, so keep in mind, I got hosed. I got hosed right by Panini. I did a video on this where they screwed me because even with National Treasure, it's not a player worn.
Yep.
Patch.
Yeah, it's an event worn or
it's not even. It's unassociated. Right. Completely unassociated. It's not associated with any specific player, game,
so it's
or
like
event.
My middle school jersey in there.
Exactly. Right. And so because of that turned me off because I could have bought tons of different RPAs, right?
Yep.
Because there was tons of them out there. But even previously to this whole fiasco with the patches, the patches were at least player associated, right? And I was excited to collect even just that, right? I was like, okay, cool. This is at least player associated. Maybe it's game worn, event worn, whatever. Who gives a shit? But I was always going to chase that. But then when that became the case where they weren't even player associated, then that turned me off completely. So I got screwed. It wasn't until they released Flawless that it was already okay. This is finally the game worn jersey with the on card auto. But by that time, his hype was already up there.
Yep.
Right. And so
now let me ask you this, because I certainly don't know the Shingun market. What do those National Treasures autographs go for now? Like right now?
Like in the thousands, like maybe 1,300, 1,400.
So
I think,
what were they? What were they whenever you were first looking at them?
Oh, they were in the 550s, 450s.
Okay, so there you go. So there's my point, right?
Yeah.
So that kind of answers my. So if you bought a couple of those,
but I didn't want to buy them though.
I know, but hear me out. Even though you didn't want them, buying them, knowing that that's a sought after brand, right? And you have no intention of holding these, even though you collect that guy he's your boy.
Yeah.
You could have sold them now for a handsome profit and easily flipped yourself into the card you actually wanted. You know what I mean?
The money is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So something to kind of like when you really think about things, like we talked about this a while ago, where we talked about when I'm like building insert sets, do you go after the big card right away or do you wait? And we both said we'd go after the big card first, knock it off, and then you get the other ones. And right now I'm building a set where I'm doing kind of like I'm getting every other one first because some of them don't pop up very often.
Yeah.
And the Griffey is the most expensive card in the set, and I've been trying to buy it, but the dude won't budge, and it's driving me nuts.
Holy shit, man! I'm looking at these cards. 4,000 in July for a BGS 9.5
on
RPA.
A Shingun
on
RPA,
the Shingun.
just
and this
like
is the National Treasure
associated.
Yep, this is National Treasure.
Wow.
The enclosed official license material is not associated with a specific player, game, or event. So this is my point. So the reason why I didn't go after it, even when it was in the low $500-$600 range, was because I didn't think anybody would want that anyway.
But now we've learned a lesson tonight, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. So like for example, his Spectra, which I love Spectra.
Yep.
His rookie patches, $420 right now. His RPA.
Okay.
On Spectra, Panini 1
Yep.
Again, not associated with a specific player, game, or event. $300. So those RPAs would have been nice to get, man. But like I said, man, let me see if there's any flawless ones out there.
I mean, I gotta grab a tissue. I'll be right back.
Go ahead. Man, even this so this is interesting. This flawless one sold for $2,100, $2,800, and these are the guaranteed game worn / used material. So that's interesting. Why is the National Treasure one that is not game worn? Oh, this is because this was at 8.5. I see why. Panini Flawless. See, this is interesting. Why is this one going for $500? This one went for $500. I need to keep my eyes on the market a little bit better, because this is game worn RPA. Went for $564. Interesting, and that was in September. Yeah, the Shingu market's kind of all over the place. This one went for $900. Damn, I should have thought, man, and that one's to 10. Holy hell, bro!
That's what I'm saying, dude. So like I'm listening to you talk, and I think there's moves you can make within an individual player's market, where you as the player collector may not view that card as like something you want in your collection.
Yeah, because my emotions are tied to it.
Yep. But you can use it to get to those other pieces that you want in your collection.
Yeah.
So like there's some of that there that like, and I don't think like that very often. And it's something I should probably do a better job at myself, because there's certainly like bigger cards that I'd like to like go get right now.
Right.
And the only way for me to do that is to sell off the cards that I have. And I don't really want to sell the cards that I have. I've worked hard to get them.
Right.
And I like them. So it's like I don't really I go through my graded cards and my ungraded cards, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? Like I'm not really I'm not there, you know.
You're not motivated to get rid of them.
No. So I don't know. It's just it's an interesting way to hobby, so to speak. You know, I again, I just go back to like there's certainly no wrong way to do any of this, right? But there's also so many ways to do this.
Yes.
It's like when you think you figured it out, you get another thought and you're like, oh, well look at this.
Or somebody pops something up in front of you, you're like, oh man, I didn't even think about
that. Yep. Interesting.
Dude, I'm looking at some of these Shinguns. I'm gonna have to come back and start taking a look at some of these. But you know what's interesting is that like I just rattled off those sell prices.
Yeah.
But there's two of them listed. One guy's got it listed for $4,000 and the other guy's got it listed for $5,000. And that same exact card sold for out of 10 to 10 sold for $2,800. So it's like they're kind of all over the place with their pricing, but I need to set some alerts for that so I can keep an eye on them. But anyway, yeah, man, that's kind of where I feel like Panini screwed me, you know?
Yeah.
Because for the last few years, they've been doing this whole not associated bullshit.
Yep.
And it just so happens that the last few years, my Rockets have had amazing draft picks that I would have loved to have been able to, you know, get some stuff.
Yeah, and I think like again, like you and I are both guys that like the game worn memorabilia, and like, you know,
sure.
It came from, but that's from when we grew up, and that's what we had access to.
Yeah,
and it's okay to still have that stuff, but at the same time, the modern card,
right?
And I think that'll change drastically now with Fanatics. But you know, I think it's just worth a thought on like someone like your end where you're after a certain player and you know that at some point now that card's gonna pop up.
Yeah.
And if you got a couple of pieces, you know what, I bought these things. I know it's my guy, but I bought these things to now flip them and go get that card that I want to put in my thing for forever, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or until the next one comes up. So
yeah, the other guy that I got kind of not really screwed on, but I still like him. He's still a great player. He's still one of my favorite players to watch. Anytime that there's an Atlanta game going on, I always watch
Dominique Wilkins?
No, Clint Capella.
Oh.
I've always enjoyed watching him when he was here in Houston. I was a big Capella fan, and I have a lot of his. He doesn't have any RPAs out there, but he has some rookie card autos. I got like 4 of them.
Yeah.
And so I got quite a bit of his stuff. I have a lot of his like low numbered. Like I got like 3 or 4 different tie-dye parallels. I got a lot of zebra print, tiger print. You know, I got all that kind of stuff in Capella. Because it was cheap. Nobody knew who he was. Yep. And I was buying him up like crazy. I was getting, I was getting gold prisms for like $12-13.
Yeah.
You know? And I haven't looked at
him. I love Clint Capella. I wanted the Celtics to get him.
Oh yeah, he would have been
the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
You know, I'm glad we're talking basketball right now, because basketball of all the sports, I've been down on it.
Yeah.
But
you know, it's funny.
My Boston Celtics are gonna, if they can somehow stay healthy.
Yeah.
Dude, I know Dame went to Milwaukee.
Yeah, that's big news. We hadn't got a chance to talk about that, but yeah,
that's we're gonna segue to now NBA, because it's on now.
Yeah,
but the Celtics do very well against Milwaukee, and getting Drew Holiday now, that's no cupcake for Milwaukee, bro.
Exactly. Yeah.
People anointed them the champion the other night, and the Celtics wait a second.
Hold on a second, please, sir.
You know what I mean? And they don't. Drew Holiday is arguably the best defensive guard in the league, and he's still a solid scorer, and he's a hell of a point guard, and he's a major upgrade over Marcus Smart.
Oh, I agree.
Major upgrade.
I agree. Defensively, definitely a major upgrade. Yeah.
So, and Marcus Smart was a hell of a defender.
Yeah, exactly. So he was no slouch.
Right. So then if like I'm not banking on Porzingis to play the whole year. Like the poor guy just gets hurt.
Yeah, but Porzingis is on the back nine though.
He is, but you know what? I still think he's very good. And you just think a few short 10 years ago when he was with the Knicks coming up, bro.
Yeah,
he was nasty.
Yeah, but that was, in my opinion, that was
a different player.
Yeah.
He's a very different player now.
Right.
But they've Jason Tatum, and I'm not saying this because I'm a homer. I've been saying this for a long time. I think he's the best player in the league.
Yeah.
And I don't even think it's close. Now, he has to win. So he's got to take that next step to kind of like back up JD's like obnoxious points. But then you get Jaylen Brown.
Right.
They match up well with anybody. And they're a matchup nightmare for everybody because they get the two wings. And now you get a true point guard.
Yeah, it's going to be a problem,
buddy. Watch out. And I think basketball, like the East, the West has been loaded for 20 years.
And the East is starting to balance it out.
The East is like, hey, we're here too.
Stuff going on over here.
You know, like even like a team like Brooklyn was a disaster with Kevin Durant and Kyrie. They were a disaster, and on the fly, they flipped their whole team, and they're very competitive.
Yeah, they turned things around.
Very competitive.
I for one am so happy that blew up in their face because.
Me too. I can't stand either of those.
The Rockets became recipients of like some really good draft picks in that sense, but right because you know in that whole James Harden deal.
Yeah,
but yeah, man, it's funny we're talking basketball because Ziggy was sending me a message. He was like, "Hey man, I want to have you on to talk basketball because I don't think anybody's talking about basketball right now." You know, he kind of feels that he made a comment that he felt like basketball isn't being talked about a lot when it comes to like sports cards.
They're not because everybody.
And there isn't a whole lot of content out there. Yeah.
Well, if you think like, he's not wrong.
No, he's not.
And if you think about it, for like much of 2020 and a good amount of 2021, it's all anybody talked about.
Right.
Zion, Ja.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Zion, Ja.
Do you think it might be because the draft classes since then haven't been very razzle dazzle, right? Like we haven't seen. Like, and I say this, and my Rockets have been the recipients of a lot of the, like, Paolo Banchero. Nobody really, you know, like, okay, he's good, but you know, there really hasn't been a whole lot of, you know, hustle and bustle about him.
There's no guy.
There's no, yeah, exactly. There's no Zion, right?
So
there's no.
And we went through this, I think, once. If you look at the NBA draft classes since '86, remember we did that?
Yeah.
Every like 10 years. You're going to get a good draft class.
You're going to get a monster class.
You know, you got 86, you got 96, you got 2003.
Then you got 2007.
I think who was 2007?
7 was Durant. 7 was who else was in that class?
That was Durant and Oden.
Was it Oden? Nah.
Yeah, Greg Oden. Because remember, everybody like the Celtics were dying to get the number 1 pick.
That's right. That's right.
You know, like, and then you had guys like kind of, you know, 98 or 97, whatever, Tim Duncan, Paul Pierce, Dirk, you know, but those guys were like kind of sprinkled in. So then, like, I think 2012, 2011 there, you had two really good. I don't know. There was no one, dude. It was KD.
It was KD, yeah. Oh, you know what? I think I'm thinking 09. What was Curry? Curry was 09, right?
Curry was 09.
So Curry was,
but even 09, he was the 7th pick.
Yeah, but Curry was so 09 was Curry, DeMar DeRozan, James Harden, Blake Griffin.
All right, that's a good
Drew
class.
Holiday.
Yep.
Was
that's
pretty
a good class.
That's a pretty good draft.
Curry alone takes that class to
well, Harden too. I mean, Harden's a washcloth now, but
he's a good NBA. Hey, he had a great career.
Man, I forgot Hassim Thabit went second overall. Holy shit! Ricky Rubio was another one in that draft class. Kid was a beast.
Yep.
El Maestro. Jordan Hill, number 9. Hey, this is a pretty decent draft class. Look, Blake Griffin, number 1. Hassim Thabit, whatever. James Harden was 3. Tyreek Evans was 4. Ricky Rubio, 5. Johnny Flynn, man. Yeah. Steph Curry was 7. Jordan Hill was 8. DeMar DeRozan was 9. That's pretty decent.
Yeah, that's a decent class.
Yeah. Dang, Drew Holiday went 17. But anyway, to that point, it's oh shit, I think I broke my chair. It's gonna get interesting, man, and we're gonna start kicking off here pretty soon with the season. November, quite possibly the best sporting season that there is.
Ooh, right? I don't know.
Because you got, think about it. We got
September, October.
Well, college football full swing, NFL full swing, NBA full swing, and baseball playoffs.
Well, playoffs aren't. Baseball's done by October. Baseball's done here in a couple of weeks. Yeah, playoffs are started. Baseball will be done by the end of the month.
I thought baseball was going into
sometimes they go early first week in November because of weather or something.
Okay,
but they're usually done. Yeah. They're usually done by the end of November. October. Sorry.
Okay, you're right.
But then you got.
Well, November 4th.
This time of the year is very good for sports because there's a lot going on, right? And I do think that the NBA is finally more balanced between the two leagues.
I think so.
The two conferences.
Yeah.
Conferences. That the play should be much more competitive. Now, I've kind of learned watching an NBA regular season game now is what it is, right? Guys are going to do their thing, and I've read some articles recently of guys that have left the league and gone overseas because they don't like the way basketball's played, and it's very one-on-one, and you go overseas and it's more team, and they hate each other and everything else.
Yeah. Well, everybody wants to be the guy, right? Like,
Yeah, and I get that. But then if you watch the playoffs, it's good basketball. They play defense. They're after, you know what I mean? Like, so, all right, they're boys, whatever. I mean, they're not trying to fight each other,
right?
Whatevs. But I think the NBA is primed for a sneaky little, really good season here.
I agree, especially with this whole thing that they're doing.
Give you some credit for seeing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
He's 100% right. Ain't nobody talking basketball.
And I'll tell you what, with these new rules that they have on the whole what do they got? Workload management.
That's stupid.
Oh my God, that's like the dumbest thing ever, right? And so it's like,
you know what I mean? Because here's the thing, Omar. Let me ask you this, right? Do you just say to your work, "Hey, listen"?
Yeah. Not
I worked hard 4 days this week. I'm going to take Friday off.
Yeah. They're going to tell me to pound sand.
Yeah, they'd be like, here's your shit. Go home.
Yeah, go home.
You know what I mean?
And I'll tell you the other aspect of that too is that I've been to a couple of games where, I was there specifically to see somebody play. They're
not there.
And they don't play. I've been to a couple of the Dallas games when they come home. So I want to watch Luka play.
Yeah.
Both times that I've watched the Dallas game, he's sitting out.
Yep.
And it's like, you look at the injury report and it's like, undisclosed, injury or something like that. And then you go out there and when I go, I only go a handful of times, so I pony up for the good seats.
Yeah.
And I go out there during shoot arounds and he's out there running around playing and shit. And I'm like,
no, I hear you. That's the unfortunate piece, whatever. But what I see is this. This is my bold prediction, and we'll get into this more as we do some more episodes here coming up to the season. But my early NBA predictions are the Luka market will be very volatile this year. Very volatile.
You think so?
Very. And I don't mean like just crashing. I mean, there's going to be movement up. There's going to be big swings. There's going to be big swings. And I'm actually really curious what happens with the old Zion card market, right? Because I think most people in the hobby have Zion fatigue now.
I think this year's make or break for him.
Yeah, I do too.
This is his last year.
Like we did our dumbass purchase and whatever. But I do think, man, there's a little bit of something if whatever, but this is it. This is
his last year. This is his last chance. Not only for the card, not only for us that
not for cards, but for real life.
Just
real life. Yeah. Agreed. Because after this he'll become a role player, getting the veteran minimum, and filling out a roster.
Or now he's gonna break out and be the Zion that we all wanted him to be, right? And
and then you got Ja,
who's on his redemption tour.
It'll be interesting there because the kid's got talent. He's young. Can he like make the right decisions?
Right.
With, like, it's not on the court. The court stuff is not
on the
the
court.
problem.
He's amazing.
He's awesome.
Right.
It's that off the court thing. You know what I mean? Like he needs like Allen Iverson to sit him down and talk to him about like, listen, bro, this is what I did. You're being a dumbass. You know what I mean? But and then with the Celtics, I think you got LeBron on his swan song, and I think with the load management piece, the Lakers, like with AD and him, they'll hang around and be competitive, and they'll do just enough, like they did last year, to get into the playoffs. And I think because of the load management crap, they'll be healthy enough, barring something catastrophic,
right,
to kind of make some noise again.
Yeah,
to some degree, because I think they're a better team this year. I think they added a couple pieces that'll help them.
Yeah,
Golden State's going to be tough. Phoenix will be tough. Denver's loaded, and then Houston's up and coming.
My hot take for the season, because I agree with everything you said, but my hot take for the season is that my Rockets are going to sneak into the playoffs.
They should 100%.
They're going to sneak into the playoffs.
They should be a 5-6 seed this year, easily.
Yeah. Well, they'll probably be a little higher than that, but yeah, I was kind of putting like 6, 7, like barely eking in there.
I don't know. They're if they get above a 5 seed, dude, I'll send you $20. I'll send you, because then I think they exceeded my expectations. Yeah. But then in the East, dude, the East is a dogfight too. Like,
yeah, it is.
Like, because here's the thing with the East, like we talking the Celtics, we're talking the Bucks, but like if the stars like aligned, Philly's a problem.
Philly is a problem.
They're not though. They're not. Given
on paper, they're not.
No, on paper they're a problem. When it comes time to put up, they're people are like, yeah, okay, you know what I mean? They fold every year.
Yeah.
Does Brooklyn get better? Does Orlando get better? Orlando's a son of a bitch too. So like Miami, you know those dogs will be there. So like there's really some good.
Dude, there's a lot out there.
Atlanta's a good team.
Atlanta's still out there.
So it's going to be it's going to be an interesting season. For sure.
I'm super excited. I'm super excited for this season. And just like you said, man, the stage this year has been set for so much to develop, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you just talked about a ton of it, right? Not only is the good balance in the East, good balance in the West, right? There's juggernaut teams on both sides. It's no longer the Western Conference finals, right?
Right.
Where it was like, for it was like 5 or 6 years in a row where it's like, okay, whoever comes out of the West is winning.
Yeah,
right?
wins. Yeah.
Like we don't, and it's, the finals aren't even worth watching, right? That's not the case anymore, right? I mean, it's, every year it's been getting better and better and better and more competitive.
Yep.
But then also those little sideline stories, right? What's Zion going to do? What's Ja going to do? Is Trae Young ever going to take the next step, right? Like Trae Young was just as hot as Luka, you know.
Yes.
You know, when they got drafted. Is Luka going to take the next step? There's just so much going on.
But to go back to like Ziggy's message to you, it's a fascinating thing because there was so much heat on basketball cards, whether it was the
That's what started
Zions
everything, in my opinion,
or the Jordans and the 90s stuff. There was so much heat everywhere on all basketball cards.
Right. Agreed.
Because again, if you think about our age group, we loved basketball when we were younger. Dude, was king.
Was everything.
Everybody wanted to be like Mike.
Yep.
And that's all you did. You got home from school, you went to the playground, and you played basketball till you couldn't play anymore.
Right.
And so for us, like basketball is still a huge piece of our hearts.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Agreed.
But like we've been like we went all in.
Yeah.
And we're like, all right, we got like things are where they're at, right? But now it's like, all right, we're watching this and we're like, you know what? Like, it's starting to see some things here or whatever, but like it'll be. And the flip side is there's so many damn products out there. And what is the NBA going to do with their cards? Are they going to say bye to Panini, or haven't they? They've already done that, haven't they?
So I think if I'm not mistaken, their contract isn't up yet, and they have not been the ones to say bye yet. The NFL did, and WWE did, I think.
Okay. All right. So you got to assume they're next.
Yeah, of course.
You got to assume. Right. So, and it would be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with football this year. I was listening to another podcast the other day. Let me get that potograph. And they had one of the higher ups from Panini on, this guy, Tracy Hackler. Great show. Go listen to it if you haven't. It's awesome. They're the best. And Hackler said flat out that they asked him, "What are you guys doing for football cards?" And he was like, "Oh, I can't get into too much, but basically we're planning business as usual." So they're not like they're releasing their cards. Yeah, they're planning on releasing set after set, their normal release schedule.
Their normal release.
So
interesting.
I thought there would be maybe some caution on their part, but I think they also have some validity to their argument of like, whoa.
Yeah,
we got a contract here.
Yeah,
and I know contracts are made to be broken, but some judge out there is gonna
uphold,
say to the union like, what are you doing? Yeah. You know what I mean? So we'll see. It'll be interesting. But at the same time, Fanatics has so much cash. Ultimately,
and I really want to see a Topps NBA product.
I do too.
I want to see a Topps.
I want to see a Topps Chrome. I want to just get a nice Topps Chrome. Sorry, I just want a nice Topps Chrome, Jason Tatum refractor or an X-fractor, and be happy.
And be happy.
You know what I mean? Just want to be happy.
Yeah, give me a Shingle.
I don't want a guy in a suit. Yeah. I don't want a guy like petting his dog. I want a nice Boston Celtics refractor.
Agreed.
It's not too much to ask, buddy.
Yeah, exactly, right?
It's not.
Come on, guys. Let's make this happen, please. Jesus.
So
good stuff,
all right, my man.
We went a little bit over, but it's all good. Once we get to talk of basketball, it's all downhill.
It happens. Happens to the best of us.
So yeah, maybe I might try to set up some time with Ziggy. He's been asking me to jump on his side and talk a little basketball, so we might do that. And I'm pretty sure he's got a bunch of other stuff he's going to throw at me because him and I don't necessarily agree on everything.
No, nope.
It should be a good discussion though. Yep. But we'll see what happens. All right. Thanks everybody for listening. We appreciate you guys stopping in. It's been a little bit hit and miss the last couple of weeks. I've been doing a lot of traveling. I don't travel again until Thanksgiving, which we're not going to do an episode during Thanksgiving anyway. So we should be pretty consistent. Gonna hit the 50th episode here, I think, within the next few weeks. I think we got maybe like 5 or 6 more to go. We have a pretty big giveaway planned for the 50th episode. So you guys stay tuned for that. We'll get more details as we go along. But yeah, other than that, we appreciate you guys watching. Comment, We talked about a lot. I'm pretty sure there's going to be some people that got some varying opinions. We always appreciate your comments, and we'll catch you guys on the next week's episode. So, love y'all. Peace out.